Hello everyone, welcome back to Dave's Auto DIY. I'm excited because today's job is not just a routine maintenance job. It's not fixing something that's broken. I'm actually upgrading my car today. Today we're adding a new air intake from Flying Miata, a Flying Miata Randall Cowl intake. This promises to be a simple bolt-on job that'll add 5 horsepower to my car, which might not sound like a lot, but in a car with as little horsepower as a 1990 Miata, 5 horsepower is significant. So let's get started. You're watching Dave's Auto DIY. So this is the stock air intake, and it's taking air from the side of the engine compartment, and that's all right. But there is hot air under the hood. We are going to add an intake that goes through the firewall here, which will take cold air from outside the engine compartment. And also, this is a slightly high pressure zone due to the aerodynamics as the air flows over the car. So it promises to give colder, more dense air, which is what you need to get more power. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this little clip. Okay, so I removed the little clip that's holding this clutch line, and I removed a little rubber grommet that was plugging that hole in the firewall. We'll be throwing these things out. So now that I got the clutch line clamp off and the hole loose, I went ahead and I slightly bent the clutch line down to be able to fit this bracket into place. And I loosely attach the side bolt to have it in position, and I'm going to trace with a Sharpie the inside of the hole that I'm going to need to cut out, and I'm also going to make a Sharpie mark on the other end where I'm going to have to drill a hole. Apparently the later model Miatas already have a hole over here, but in my 1990 I'll have to make a hole for the other side of the bracket. Here's a tip. Put a rag to block the hole here that goes down behind the front fender. I dropped the nut down in there before I put the rag. Then I had to remove 2 bolts from the bottom of the fender and pull the fender out a little bit to get my nut out. So it said to use a marker to trace out the opening here, but I found the marker didn't leave much of a mark. So I went and got a pointed tool so I can just etch a line to show the hole I'm going to need to trace out, and etched in these crosshairs to see the 2 end bits to show the center of where I'll drill the circular hole. Okay, I can see where I need to drill out my holes. I'm going to put a center punch right in the middle of the 2 end sections, and then we will go ahead and drill the ends out. The left-hand end was much more difficult because the firewall is not flat and the drill was jumping around a lot. I butchered the hole and had to switch over to a Dremel to finish. So what I did was I ended up using the Dremel tool to finish cutting out the left-hand side, and looks pretty rough right now, but I put on the template and then I etched again where I should trim a little bit more. Now I'm going to go back with my Dremel and grind it out a little bit more and smooth it all out. Alright, so I've cleaned up the edges. I did put a bit of paint thinner on it to clean up the sides. Now I'm going to hit it with the bare metal with a little bit of paint to keep it from rusting. So while I'm waiting for that paint to dry a little bit, I'll take out the old air duct with this 10mm bolt, attaching it to this near the fender, and this clamp on the other end as it goes into the air box. Now I just have to wiggle it loose to remove it. back here. Okay, so the bolt that comes off on the 1990 Miata is too long, so the kit comes with a shorter bolt to reattach this diagnostic box. So now I'm going to attach the bolts to attach the bracket to the firewall. So we have the bracket back on. Now we just have to bend the clutch line a little bit, and there's a clip built into the bottom of the bracket, and it snaps right into that clip. So I put the new air intake in underneath the brake cylinder here, and now it's just a matter of fitting it onto the bracket and then fitting the other end onto the back of the airbox. So it just took some wiggling around, but because the duct is silicone, it's very flexible. A little bit of persuasion and you can get it onto the bracket and on the other end. And Flying Miata says I don't need to use the clamp anymore on the other end. It will fit snug on the airbox end by itself. So I'm going to clean up some of the metal shavings from the drilling and grinding. And after that, we'll take it for a test drive. All right, so we're out on the test drive. Does it sound any better? Maybe a little bit louder because the air duct is coming right back towards the driver's seat here. Can I feel more power? I'm not sure. 5 horsepower is not a lot. It's not less. I can't say for certain that I can feel more, but I'm sure it's there. So overall, yeah, it was a success. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. This is Dave's Auto DIY.